Everybody. I'm doing this video on a Wednesday afternoon simply because I believe we're going to have a special guest on tomorrow night's show that you're going to love to see. You're going to love to see what they're doing. Hopefully, we're going to make it tomorrow. It might be a different day. Regardless, what I want to talk to you about right now and right here is that we, as people who believe that our country is going in a much better direction than, well, let's just say the previous administration had us in. I think that recent events must have us, or at the very least should have us doubting the sources that we receive information. Now, as you may know, if you've perused my Facebook page, I berate people who don't think, and it's not always their fault. I mean, some of them are very educated, and that's, they thought they were doing something. They intended to learn how to think, but in return, they only had a litany of answers, an agenda of how to think. I'm sorry, what to think, not how to think. They were told what to think. They were told what to think in what situations. They were told who to believe and who not to believe. They were shown the way by their professors, who were shown the way by their professors, ad not infinitum, because I think we did have a good, prior to like unions and parasitic administrators and things like that in this country, in the academia as a whole. If you do doubt me, and you absolutely should doubt me, because why would you believe anyone on the interweb? Exactly. So what I'm going to say is, if you really want to see someone who either one, had prior knowledge, he did, two, knew what was coming because he experienced the agenda, and three, kind of front loaded it. Not completely, because we're talking about 1982, 84, somewhere in that area. It was Yuri Bezmenov, the Soviet defector, who told us exactly what was happening in the United States with our systems. Education is a system, right? Yes, it is. Academia is a system. Perhaps it was just being infiltrated, or, even in the 70s, we had issues where, it was starting to turn into something that was at the very least socialist friendly. But today, in today's academia, wow, it is rotten. It is disgusting. And, well, it is what it is, as the saying goes. We don't have to accept it, but it helps to know exactly what it is. Now, all that to say, what we're experiencing right now is a dearth of real information. How to find it? How do we find this real information among all the nastiness, the sluice, if you will, of the news, the schools, the social media, all this stuff, right? So I personally want to know the truth. I'm called a conspiracy theorist. But today I want to talk about how we as truth seekers can go about finding the truth. Is it elusive? Absolutely. In our time, probably. I didn't live in any other era, right? Probably always has been. However, there are methods. There are tried and true methods to finding truth, to finding what it is the reality of any given situation is. Now, is that a guarantee that you're going to find it? No, and especially in today's day, especially with today's technology. There's no absolute guarantee you're ever going to know any truth past the Bible that you may hold in your hand. Now, all that said, here's some things I want to touch on briefly. Again, this is not going to be a full-blown show. You can, feel free. I'm going to open up the chat here. Feel free to chat in if you'd like. I would love to see some participation here. But if I don't get it, I won't be surprised. Anyway, what brought me to this is the confusion, mostly, not exclusively, but mostly on the Charlie Kirk affair. Okay. Have leftists, Marxists slandered the man and misrepresented the man and all that? Yes, they have. They very, very much have. Okay. But that's expected. All that is expected. We know the commies are going to commie. Okay. That's going to happen. Right. But the fact of the matter is, what we don't do, we as truth seekers, we that like to want to make and do attempt to make America great again, what is it we are missing? And I'm finding that out more and more, but it just came to like a fever pitch today for me as I was listening to one of my favorite shows, The Narrative, on Rumble. So one of the things that I don't often do is go deeply enough into Con Inc. What is Con Inc? Conservative Incorporated, right? But you can also, it's a double entendre because the con is trying to con you, right? So the conservative movement is a movement to con you. Why do I say that? Wait a minute, Otter. Aren't you conservative? You betcha. Yeah, I want to make America great again. But I'm not going to lie about it. And I certainly don't have billionaires funding me, okay? I don't have, and this is very important, NGOs telling me, hey, Otter, I'll give you 45 grand an episode if you, just tell people to get the jab, man. Or tell them, hey, man, don't believe Trump, or whatever it is they do, whatever it is they want to promote. I don't take any of that money. Of course, they never offered me, right? But you have, well, for what it's worth, and it's all I have pretty much, my word, I give it to you that I will not take payment for opinions, promotions, and so forth that are against our great country. Now, that being said, you can say what you will about your Daily Wire, the Ben Shapiro crowd, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson. If I were to say I didn't listen to those people at any given time, I'd be lying, and I'm not going to lie to you. I have not watched an entire episode of Candace or Ben Shapiro, but I have Tucker Carlson. Now, the reason for that is, and I'll give you the reason. His dad was CIA. I wanted to know, hey, is there anything left, a residual on the son? And I took it as a good sign that he was, supposedly breaking from Fox. And then I find out him and apparently, check me, fact check me, whatever you want to call it. I think him and Candace are both funded by the same conservative, Con Inc. NGO. Now, what is disturbing about this? What is disturbing about NGOs funding the people that we are told are telling us the truth? Regardless of whether they're on, CNN or another communist network, whatever it is, or they're coming to you in your streams, right? Because we know we can't trust the TV. So we watch something we want to say, and very well articulated, by the way. These are not dumb people. They're not your Elon Omars. They're not your AOCs. They're not your Swalwells or all those other geeks and freaks, okay? These people really know how to think, and they can articulate their point extremely well. They've been decades honing their skills, okay? Now, all that to say, why is it that if they really want to make America great again, and they're really, we love Trump, yeah, all right. Well, it goes beyond just saying, I don't adore him or I don't worship him, which is where I'm at. You don't adore someone like that. I mean, I follow him. I admire him, okay? But to worship a guy like that, oh, man, that's I worship only one. His name's Jesus Christ, and I worship only one. Now, the thing that we have to remember is we have to discern and differentiate the message that Donald Trump puts out and the message that Con Inc. puts out, okay? Now, we all have the detractors, right? Balde, one of my old friends, Balde Gutierrez, right? Shout out to Balde, always hitting me up on Facebook, or in defense, his defense. I'll be on his and he'll be on mine, and I'll make comments and he'll make comments, yada, yada, whatever it is. We are on different wavelengths. Let's just put it that way, politely, right? So he has, if MAGA, whatever you want to call it, Make America Great, is what he believes it is, and it is not. It is not. But I'm here to say maybe it's also not what we believe it is. What do I mean? So it's obvious that guys like Balde and my friend Bill Medor, shout out to you, Bill, they have no clue what the average Make America Great Again person is about. They really don't, and they don't want to know. That hopefully is different from you and I, because not only do I know who I am, I know who the people I spend time with are, and I know exactly what I want Make America Great Again to be, but I'm also knowing that it isn't quite that. And here we'll go back to these influencers and their difference, and the difference of their message to Donald Trump. What is Donald Trump's message? Where has he been beating the drum most loudly? Lately, it has been against NGOs. Some of them, he has even made terrorist organizations, declared them as terrorist organizations. And you know what happens after that? What happened after the Bush crime family made Al-Qaeda and all those other creations of them, their own creations, terrorist organizations? You know, they blew up men, women, and children in far off places and called it justice in the American way. Was it really? No, we know it wasn't. But we know who the Bushes are now. Defense to anyone who didn't, like myself, know that they were some of the most evil and vile human beings on this earth. Some of, not the only. So the things that we're learning now, I want to share because, well, that's my point. I think God put us all here on the earth to do a certain thing. And I believe that God really did put me in a position where I am as if a watcher on the wall. I see things coming. I look back and say, hey, guys, this doesn't look good. Let's see what's going on here. I'll let you know when I know, right? That's my role. Now, I could, basically abrogate that to another person or just drop it all together. But I won't. I can't. Why? Because, well, God says that if I don't warn people, if I don't tell people, and something happens to them, well, that's on me. If I am truly what I believe he wants me to be, a watcher on the wall, right? Somebody who warns those inside, right? So I do want to tell you, and it's a passion of mine. So here I am. Now, going back to the message of Con Inc., what they are telling us is all this is happening because of transsexuals, right? Let's boil it down, ladies and gents. Those crazy trannies, according to Con Inc., those crazy trannies, man, they're everywhere. What does that storyline lack? A source. A source. Who's spinning up these people? And why is it really so often transsexuals? Do you think that's connected? Is it possible? Well, I don't know. But I'm getting closer to the truth. And here's what I think about it. I think that it's such an easy target to put such a confused person out there. Right? Spin them up, as my term is. Abuse them, as my term is. This is me. I'm not bringing anybody else into my jackpot. Now, I've mentioned many times before the connection in the iteration or perhaps evolution of MK Ultra is in our MK Ultra, that is, look it up, is in our time now monarch mind control. And they might even be past that by now. Who am I? I don't know. I'm not into it. I'm into the observation of it, but I'm not into it, thank God. So who's to say that the creatures, the parasites, I dare not call them elite because that would in some way intimate respect, which I don't have for them. So these parasites on human society of all stripes, these parasites, okay, they not only own Democrats. And if you think that's it, then, I'm sorry for you, because they own Republicans too, okay? A la John McCain, right? All that in Ukraine, right? With the leader, the upcoming leader of ISIS, right? ISIS is us. We know this, okay? Now, when we see that the same people that own the Democrats own the Republicans, are teeing up a very obvious and a very onerous to all that is logical subset, very small subset of society to do their ill will, their evil deeds. Okay, and yes, apparently the shooter of Charlie Kirk was not trans. He was trans close. His boyfriend or whatever it was trans, perhaps. I don't know. We don't know. And why don't we know? Because we're never told the truth. We have to discern the truth. I'm going to share with you right now a prompt I put into Grok. I wanted to know, hey, how does one think in terms of first principles? Well, Grok first came out with this. One, you must start with eschewing the assumptions, getting rid of all the things that you assume, but go down to bare facts, such as those that are given to you through official trusted sources. And I was like, are you nuts? The same people own the AI that own the Democrats, that own the Republicans. Official sources? So I had to refine it. Okay? Basically, I put in, okay, assume no one is telling the truth. Okay, finally it came out. And this is what Grok's response was about first principles. Because this, ladies and gentlemen, is not taught in school. Oh, yeah, they might say, oh, first principles, that, whatever. And then the next class you go to, yes, if you're a man, you could be pregnant. What the? Same school. First principles. Thinking in terms of first principles means breaking down a problem or idea to its most fundamental, first, undeniable truths and reasoning up from there rather than relying on assumptions, analogies, or conventional wisdom. It involves questioning everything, stripping away layers of complexity, and focusing on the core elements that cannot be reduced further. And what do the usual suspects do? They layer the complexity so we can't divine the truth. So they'll throw in a tranny. They'll throw in a rifle that's put in a box after a shooting, okay? They'll throw in a round from a very high-powered weapon that doesn't have an exit wound. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm mentioning just a few of the inconsistencies. Jet fuel does not melt steel beams. Buildings falling down. Hey, Barry, good to see you. Any comments are welcome, Barry, because I'm telling you, man, I'm going deep on this one. This little special show here, because I'll tell you what, who we think are friendly may not be so friendly. So I'm going to go back real quick. I'm going to divert right now from some of the, thinking in terms of first principles, and then we're going to go down to how we might run different scenarios in parallel, find out who benefits from these crimes, right? If they even occurred. Now, if we look at the whole thing that is we'll just use Charlie Kirk's apparent assassination as a go-by. Did all of you see the videos of the swell of emotion, passion on the side of conservatives? I know I did. And it was moving. It was emotional. I'll give you that. And the vitriol on the other side. Man, so many people hate Charlie Kirk because of what they have been lied to about who he was, all this, all that. I have seen nothing. Barry says, me too. Hard to comment on Facebook. It keeps lagging listening on YouTube. Wow. Thank you for that info, Barry. I've long known, and I'm hardlined in. I'm at home. And as far as I know here, I'm hardlined in. Yeah, I'm hardlined in. I got a 1 gig contract with Spectrum. I'm running hot, man. I'm hot and heavy. And yeah, the algorithms are all against us. But hopefully YouTube, I caught them by surprise. I'm not, all that active on YouTube. Anyway, the fact of the matter is this. What we want to do when we're looking for the truth is we want to go to first principles, strip it down to what it is. What is the story? He was killed. Okay. Who does it benefit, right? You see in detective shows all the time. Follow the money, right? Who benefits? Is it the evil left? Of course, of course. They've just eliminated an extremely articulate, genius mind from their enemies, right? From the conservative side of the aisle, if you will. A freedom, in the words of people like you and me. A freedom fighter even, right? Now, did he threaten anyone ever? No. Did he want to talk to them? Yes. Okay. Did he hate them? No. Did he respect them? Yes. Now, these are all the things that our friends on the left and the ones that attack us, right, Barry, on Facebook, man, they hate Charlie Kirk because they don't know him at all, but they think they do. So why don't I reverse engineer that? And I think I know people like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. I don't consider Ben Shapiro in that same, because I know he's Israel first. But the fact of the matter is, if we want to get down to the bottom of this, we have to look at both sides and run each theory concurrently in parallel, right? Do you not think that Con Inc., Republicans, had anything to gain here? Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Barry. Same people that benefited from JFK. That's on both sides, right? Both sides. So when we say, okay, who benefited? And I'm not going to go really macabre and talk about the family. I won't go there. I'm not going there at all, right? But when we saw the immense outpouring of emotion, of tribute and money, okay, let's not forget the massive amounts of donations that were given to Turning Point. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Barry. The deep state very much did. And what I'm recognizing now, or not, for the first time, but what I'm trying to do recognize this publicly, is the deep state owns Con Inc. just as well as they own the commies on the left. Right? Con Inc. is the Bushes. Con Inc. is stripping down at airports because 9/11. Right? Nobody's safe. War on terror, right? That's why we got to strip down to our chones in the airport, right? So we got to see all sides possible. And if NGOs on the right, so to speak, conservative side, so to speak, are funding this stuff, which they are, right? What is Turning Point? It's an NGO. Right? Barry says the direction that Turning Point goes in the future will tell us a lot. You are absolutely right. And if that direction deviates in any way from what Donald Trump has vowed to do and has done since entering office, then, they need to be on the list of usual suspects. Why do I say that? Because they're thinking 3-4 years down the road, ladies and gents. Republicans, the evil ones, okay, exist. And, wow, this Donald Trump guy, he's going to be in office for a while. But just a while. If we could get a groundswell of support, and if we can just, and I hate this term, unite. I'm not going to unite with criminals. I'm not going to unite with people who really don't want to make America great. All they want to do is make money. I'm not going to unite with them. And I certainly won't unite with communists. I can love the person, but I certainly won't love their ideas and their mindsets. The realm of ideas should have no compassion for bad ideas. The realm of humanity has compassion for everyone. Okay? This is what educated people fail to differentiate because the professors never told them how to. Right? They told them what to think. They didn't tell them how to think. Their mind is saturated with education, not means of thought, purposes to shoot for that actually include learning how to think. None of that is inculcated into them in institutions of higher learning. At least none of the product that I've seen. So when we look at these, NGOs on the Con Inc. side, what are they really after? They're after the 2026 and the 2028 votes. And we'll be right back in the middle of where we were. We'll be in the middle of the fetid swamp. Ladies and gentlemen, let's not let this happen. Right? Let's not let it happen. Let's not go down this road. What do we use as a ruler in real life? The Bible. If it says don't do it in the Bible, well, we shouldn't. If it says do it, well, we should. It's simple. Do I always follow it? No, of course I don't. I'm as bad as anybody else, right? A sinner saved by grace, and that grace dearly bought by the life of Jesus Christ. Simple, right? Simple. Not easy to live. I'll never say that being a Christian is easy, but I will say it's simple. And why isn't it so simple to just know that if you voted for Donald Trump, if you believe in what he stands for, and yeah, there's a lot of chaff and complexity and narrative deployments that he does and 5D chess and all that, and I understand that. But that can be deconstructed to find the base of what it is that he's telling us, the things that are true. It can be done. I know it because I do it, and I'm not smarter than you. I can do it. You can do it. Okay? The fact of the matter is this. Don't trust NGOs. Do not trust them. They're funded not only by donations, but in many cases, your tax dollars. They've stolen them to fund their evil agenda. And it's not just the people who are like Soros and all those parasites, right? It's not just them. Okay, we're finding out Con Inc. is going to be just as guilty. Maybe not right now, maybe not today. But if we, as the patriots, falter, it's going to be the same as it ever was. The same as it ever was. One bird, two wings, same bird. Right? Red, blue, Republican, Democrat. Doesn't matter anymore, everybody, if we don't stand strong. You see, Donald Trump, a very, very stalwart base of his, are those of us who want the power back to the people, like he has told us. And I can hear the commies now, if any of them, are listening. Oh, he lies. He Epstein, and little girls and kids, they're in the swamp, right? But the fact of the matter is, when Donald Trump had the military backing him in his initial inauguration address in 2016, that you may have missed, okay, that was for the benefit not only of us watching, wow, military backs him, but the people around him, right? The evil Bushes, the evil Obamas, the evil Clintons, the evil Rahm Emanuels. I could go on and on, right? Schiff. Yeah, I can go on and on. McCain. Yeah, I can go on and on. But the fact of the matter is, and I've said that a lot, and I mean fact because we know this to be true. That's the only reason, is because we know this to be true. We must be on guard from the right as well as the left. This Charlie Kirk thing really confuses me on many levels. I hope someday we know the truth, but I doubt it very much. If he was killed, if he was truly murdered in front of our eyes, we have to ask ourselves, is it the right response? I'm going again to NGOs. Should we strike while the iron's hot? Should we immediately crown him with martyrdom? If what I know of Charlie Kirk is correct, then he is a martyr. He stood for Jesus Christ. He stood for the good of all people, regardless of color, sexual identity, and all that stuff that people like to talk about. If you're human, he's good with you. He'll stand by your side. He may shoot down your arguments, and that really enrages people when their arguments and their identity is attacked, right? But he always respected your true identity, always respected the fact that you are identified as a child of God. You're not a Republican. You're not a Democrat. You're not a this. You're not a that. You're a child of God. Everything else is labeled on you here on this time on earth. So I'm not going to, again, go too long. We're half an hour in. What I want to tell you is this. Let's find the truth to the best of our ability, but let's not allow ourselves to be sidetracked. And as I said, the Bible is our rule of thumb, is our straight edge on how to, behave ourselves or conduct ourselves here on earth. If you want to dive into the political realm, if you want to dive into the seeking out of truth and stuff like that, just look at the people who are diverting themselves stealthily or overtly from the agenda our president has set out. That's, of course, if you have, confidence in the president. Is he infallible? No. By no means is he infallible. He's human. Is he perfect? No, by no means. Is he a true patriot? I believe so. I truly do. No billionaire is going to give up his billions and go work for nothing in the White House. Ladies and gentlemen, on both sides of the political aisle, if you're an American and you want to continue to be an American in the America that we know, right? And, academics notwithstanding, traders notwithstanding on the right side, the America that our founding fathers really meant to have was one that all were free. Don't throw that slavery thing at me either. Slaves come in all colors, ladies and gentlemen. All colors, all shapes and sizes. In fact, you could call us wage slaves if you want, but I digress. What I would like to do is hopefully inspire a little bit of deep thinking. I won't tell you what to think. That's not my job. Professors do that anyway. Spend $200,000 or more, and you too can be taught what to think and come out degreed. Doesn't guarantee a job, but the fact of the matter is, you will be told what to think. Now, any questions, any further comments? I'll be looking at the feed. But tomorrow, I hope we can get on a better subject. If our guests are able to make the show, you're going to really learn that there are truly good people in the world, and they help out the truly innocent among us. The people, the little ones, who can't really fend for themselves, much less cry out for themselves in any other way than just crying. So thank you for listening. Thank you for, communicating your thoughts. Barry, right now, it's just you right now. But anybody else who wants to comment later, lay it on me. God bless you. God bless your families. God bless America. Otter out.